everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over a look that we recently did for a campaign shoot that we shot, and it's a curly shape. And for those of you that know me, know that I absolutely love curly hair, and I have a ton of curly hair clients that it is my mission in life if they come in for the first time and say that they don't like their curl. It's the only thing I can think about is how can I make them wear their hair natural at least 50% of the time. There's no reason why curly hair can't have a cool shape. This shape is very current, it's very sexy, and the best yet is that it's wash and wear. So the tools you'll need would be your comb, a couple clips, your scissors, and a water bottle. I'm going to be using the Rejuvenating Moisture Mist from Accrue, New York, and that's it. So I've already started to section the hair. I worked with a halo section about 1.5 inches from the hairline, and I took it down to about right on top of right at the occipital bone. Now, depending on your client and the density of her hair, the head shape, that all determines on where that halo sits, how far forward or how far back it goes. So you'll determine that and then clip that out of the way, and then we can start our shape. Okay, so I just realized that I had some technical difficulties with my computer and it crashed and did not save any of what I've just been doing for the past hour. Luckily, I do have some layering left to do on this side, but let me walk you through what I did after the halo section. So we want to just put in our perimeter, okay? So the perimeter, we took it quite short, okay? We worked to the length and coming through, taking everything in front of the ear, combing it down to its natural fall. Now I worked horizontally up this section, so I didn't comb everything down at once. I just worked up nice and clean and neat. And I followed the corner of the lip. So all of this hair at one time was right in line with the lip. Okay? From there, I went through and took slight diagonal back sections that followed the hairline, combing the hair down to its natural fall, and then I twisted my fingers and I rounded this corner out and I worked all the way down to the length. And I continued in the same manner until I ran out of hair. So again, it was natural fall. I rounded my fingers out, and basically anything after the second section, you're just kind of like dusting it because you're not over directing, you're just combing it down and you're just blending it in with the guide that you just created, okay? So you're just creating a really strong outline. From there, then you go through and we want to start to do more of a round graduation technique. So starting in the front, coming through, and I worked from the bottom of the sideburn area, that's my guide, and I worked all the way up to my profile parting. So you can see I created this graduated angle, okay? And as I worked around, I started to elevate slightly with each section. So I was working more T to the part as I worked around. The reason that I wanted that with this client and with my model is because their hair is so fine and I needed it to have some strength and some support. So I wanted more of like a graduated feeling and shape to support my top so that it gave her some more expansion. She has really great cheekbones that I really wanted to bring out on her. So that kind of creating that shadow effect really kind of brought out the model's cheekbones. Okay, so as I worked around, I continued in the same manner. Just slightly elevating with each section, and coming all around. So now I'm on this side, and I have a few more sections left. So luckily, I can show you. So I'm continuing with slight diagonal back sections. They're following the hairline. And now I'm just combing out from the section, following my guide. I can see my guide from underneath. Each section I was elevating a little bit more, and a little bit more. So it's a traveling guide, working all the way down to my length. Okay, so both sides are complete, and now we're going to start with our top. The top is going to be approached from the back, and we're going to move our way forward. First, we want to start by taking a radial from ear to ear, and then from there, we're going to just section out the flattest part of the top of the head. So if you put your comb flat on the head, where the comb leaves the head, above the parietal ridge, working on the flattest part of the top of the head. Very Gene Simmons. Okay, so after you clip the top out of the way, we're going to start in the back. We're going to work diagonal forward sections, and we're going to be rounding using the length that we just created as our guide. So working from the bottom up. There's the length that I just created. Right there. I'm going to point cut. So just continuing to work around the head, over directing back to your previous section, just putting in a nice round layer. Continue in the same manner until you reach behind the ear. So everything in front of the ear, we're going to start to over direct back to this point. Continuing with diagonal forward sections, you will not be cutting you won't be cutting anything that you just layered. You will be cutting basically this corner area here. So just working forward, continuing with diagonal forward sections, over directing that hair back to a stationary guide behind the ear, and just blending it in with your guide behind the ear. Okay, so on this side, we're going to do the same thing. We're looking to just blend in. So here's my guide from the underneath layering.
Now I'm just going to do a round layer all the way up.
Continuing with diagonal forward sections. So this is going to be my last section before I start to over direct everything back. Okay, so after every section, you probably see that I start to flip the hair around. And this is just allowing me to see that what I'm doing is right, that it's falling into place, and I'm happy with what's happening, and I don't have to change anything from the original plan. So I'm going to continue diagonal forward sections, over directing back to the stationary guide and rounding. Again, everything that you've previously cut here will not be cut now. You will not cut that now. You comb it, but as you can see, it's falling out of my fingers. Next step would be to take horizontal sections coming across the top. You're going to over direct everything to the stationary radial section that you had created. You're going to cut that square and you'll just blend it in with the two sides that you've just cut. So my model, I decided to work more of a square top as opposed to round, and the reason is because with the feeling of the haircut, I wanted it to have that new wave feel to it, like 80s new wave feel. And you know, the way that the shapes were, you know, they kind of had this like fullness here, and then it kind of like leveled off. So by creating that roundness, then I could level it off on top and it'll give that kind of vibe to the shape. So still cutting it nice and square and continuing to just over direct it back to a stationary guide. So the final steps would be the personalization, and I'm going to do that when she's still wet, because once she's dry, I don't want to comb through it. So I'm going to go through and do some brick cutting to release some of the weight that's sitting here. Yes, I did a graduated, around graduation shape, so there should be some weight, you would think, but I do want to empty it out a little bit, but still have that feeling to it. So I'm not changing what I did, I'm just helping to take some of the bulk out, but everything will still be the same. So just coming through, doing a classic brick cutting technique, and only where I see there might be too much weight. Okay? You don't have to do it all over the head. This is where you really have to like look at the hair, see how it's sitting, and see, you know, what needs a little bit of airiness to it, or what needs to be a bit more solid. So for me, I'm just looking at like right around here. Right here. It's really where the disconnection is. And now I'm going to let her air dry, but before I do that, I'm going to wet her back down in the sink. So I would bring my clients back to the shampoo bowl, re-wet them, run some conditioner through their hair. If it's really curly, I will not comb the hair. I might just rake my fingers through it, depending on the texture though. But for there, it's just finger combing, product, and in the salon, I do dry my clients because I just feel it's important to let them see the finished result. But I also teach them how to style their hair at home, which would be air dry. How to start the process in the shower, start scrunching it in the shower, scrunching the product in, and then just not touching it. That's probably the hardest thing to teach somebody, is not to touch their hair, but doing this doesn't dry it faster. So going through, I'm pretty much done, and I'm just gonna set her back into the sink. And just gonna take some of these little bits off. That's about it. I like that with curly hair, I really enjoy disconnected pieces. Okay, I'm gonna wet her down. I'll see you in a second. I'm gonna be working with our Defining Styling Potion along with our styling balm. This is a really good combination for curly hair. It's pretty much my go-to for when I'm doing curly hair. I love it so much. And it's great for people that like to air dry their hair. It will create that definition. You get that clumpiness, almost like that beachy texture. It's like very heavy feeling, and it's easy to flop around. So I always tell my clients to scrunch that in when the hair is super wet, right? Super wet. And then you're just gonna go through, a lot of people they get frizzy around the crown area, so that you can twist some of that around your finger. I never twist the whole head. I feel like it looks too contrived. So if there are frizzier bits, then you can just randomly twist those. You would diffuse if you're in the salon, and if you're at home, just have them air dry it. To me, air dry curls are so much prettier. And when it's dry, we can shake it out and we can expand it, but not until it's dry. So don't touch it, and tell them to keep their hands away, and they can shake it out, and we'll teach them how to shake it out once it's dry. So I'm gonna leave her to it, and I'll see you when she's dry. Okay, so she's about 80% dry, and this is when I would tell my clients, if they were letting their hair air dry, to start to prep to shake it out. The prep would be to apply some styling balm to their hands, and to just really aggressively go over the top shell surface of their hair. And what that does is that clumps all those little bits back together that might have started to, the flyaways. This is also great for when they're leaving work and they want to refresh their hair, or leaving the gym. This is a really great technique to do, just to refresh the hair and to prepare it to expand it. Also, what I did with my model on the shoot. So I let her air dry just as I did this mannequin. And then she went and got her makeup done and stuff. And then at the end, when she was 80%, that's when I applied more styling balm and then really started to finish her off. So I'm just really just going over the shell, the outside. I call it the mesh. Okay. And then if they're at home, they can air dry some more. This will probably, depending on how dense their hair is and how it holds moisture, I would say another maybe 20-30 minutes for it to dry. And this is exactly, again, what I did with my model. I applied more product, and then I sent her back to get dressed, and then when it was 100% dry, then I started blasting it out with our dry texture spray. All right, so now I'm starting to shake it out. And when you start to expand curly hair, you want to go from the roots out. And so you'll feel where the hair starts to give, and that's when you stop. You don't go any further, or you'll split the ends apart, and then you'll make it frizzy. So you want to shake it out, and don't be scared. You've created a really great shape. You've put the right product in, and so you want to finish it off. And this is what I did on the shoot, and I finished most of my curly hair, girls that like it big, with our dry texture spray. So I'm just going in and I'm spraying at the root area. And you can really have fun with this. You can tame it down. It doesn't have to be so big. Although, if you're my client, I'm gonna make you wear it out this way. You can definitely have it a bit more tamer, but I mean, it's such a beautiful shape. You know, I love the squareness on top, works with the graduated, the round graduation. Okay, so I really am happy with it. I love it. I love this shape. think it's beautiful. I think the curl is amazing. I hope that you enjoyed it. And sorry for the technical difficulties, but that's what happens when you film from your living room in Brooklyn off your computer. Have a great week. Check back on Friday because we're going to be releasing the behind the scenes video of the shoot and the model's look and the inspiration for her look. So I hope you have a great week. I'll see you soon.